Good afternoon, Amber Vanderburg here. Another episode of EQ for You. I'm coming today from Amber's barn. Today's episode, number 31, EQ for You, is called How a Popular EQ Skill Almost Killed Us. So we'll talk more about that. We're operating off the idea that 75% of a person or team's success is not their IQ. If you have not done so far, go to Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, or AlanVanderburg.com. Pick up a copy of my book called EQ, Kill the Radio Star, How Emotional Intelligence Can Crush or Crash Your Organization. If you are looking for a speaker for your organization or your team or your group, give me a shout, PM me. I'd love to talk to you about a fun way of bringing emotional intelligence or emotional quotient, EQ, to you and your organization. Be sure and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We try to put out a video about every other week. And so now on to the episode. Today's episode, how a popular EQ skill almost got us killed. So again, Amber Vanderburg, I want to introduce Amber Vanderburg. Yes, she is my daughter. She is the owner and the founder of the Pathwayz group, which is a consulting group. Tell us what you do, Amber.
Yeah, so we actually do training and development with organizations really all over the world, looking at that human element of team performance. So we work on collaboration, communication, and really overall team performance.
Awesome. So I'm really excited to have Amber as a guest today because Amber and I have, for the last 7 years, Amber and I as a father and daughter kind of, here we go, we're going to do something together, have been a part of the Tulsa Tough bicycle race that happens every Saturday during that event. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday event, and we kind of chose Saturday as our father-daughter time to do some riding around the Tulsa metro area. So Amber, I want to just kind of open the floor to you and kind of tell us what Tulsa Tough is and how have we been involved in it over the last 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, so Tulsa Tough, it's a 3-day bike, really festival. It's a lot of races that happen all over town, and they have short distance races. You have people come in from really all over the world that compete. It's through United States Cycling, and it's really a fun time. And so on our race that we do on Saturday, you can do a 40-mile race, you can do a 70-mile race, and you can do 110-mile race. And so there's different links that you can do, and we all start at the same time. So it's a massive start, and everyone's supporting each other, cheering each other on. We get to meet people from all over, which is great because we are very similar and we like to meet people from all over. And so we decided we normally do the 70-mile race, and so that's what we have been doing since we very first started doing Tulsa Tough back in 2013.
So what happened in 2018? Amber, can you tell us what happened during the Tulsa Tough?
Well, in 2018, we made a spectacularly bad decision because we had planned on doing the 70. Now, it's important to note that Dad and I never trained to do this race.
Well, kind of trained, but not 70 miles. Like maybe 20 or 30, which is close to 70.
Or 10. We don't really train to do this race. We stay active, we stay fit, and then we just figure it out on the day.
It's close enough.
It's close enough.
Close enough.
We always carb load the night before, so we always have pasta.
Spaghetti, pasta, there you go.
So I guess we prep that way.
Yeah, there you go.
But we decided on the Saturday that we were racing,
2018.
that the weather was super nice. Our legs, we were feeling really good. We were at a really good pace. And we got to about the 45, 50-mile mark, and we looked at each other, and it was the point where we had to make a decision. Either we finished the 70-mile race, or we decided to do the Grand and go over 100 miles. And we decided, the weather's great, we're feeling great, we've been going at a good pace. If we're going to do it, now's the time. And so very spontaneously, we decided that we were going to do a full over 100 miles on this race. And so we were going, and we were going strong. That first leg was pretty rough. It had a lot of hills. And at some point, we actually know exactly where, we missed a turn. And that was bad because we were missing our rest stops. So soon enough, the weather, it started getting hotter, which we're in the middle of June in Oklahoma. So whenever I say hot, I mean really hot. Our water supply was depleted. We didn't have any food. Our sunscreen was gone. We were literally out in the middle of nowhere, like Cowtown, USA. There was nothing really around. And
at one point in time, we actually stopped off at a...
We find a house. We saw one house.
It had a water faucet, and we're like, well, we can just reload here. And we knocked on the door and told the lady what we were doing, and she goes, absolutely, use as much water as you want. So
we were so dehydrated
yeah,
at this point. And I feel like under different circumstances, we probably would have figured out that we needed to call for help or stop or choose something else. But Dad and I are both very similar, and we're both extremely optimistic. And so whenever I felt like, okay, we might need to stop, maybe we need to call someone for help, Dad was really good about encouraging and saying, no, we got this. Let's go a little bit more. We can see downtown right over here, which in Oklahoma in the Great Plains, you can see downtown and we're still a long ways away. And then there were times whenever Dad would feel, about ready to quit. I would say, no, we got this. Let's keep on going. Let's keep on going. And so we were encouraging one another and being, major optimists about this entire situation. And it came at one point where we came down one hill and I looked back and you were completely white and had stopped sweating, and we were in trouble. I mean, we waited till like 0 hour, and so I was very concerned. So we finally did end up calling for help like 2 miles from the finish line. We were really close. Right there. And we technically did get in all the miles. Like, we biked all of the miles, but we just didn't bike them.
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't bike them on the route necessarily.
We
so
took a side road going 100 miles.
Took
Makes
a detour.
sense, right?
Yeah, and so the luckily the organizers came, they picked us up, they got us medical attention, they got you medical attention, and we survived. But it definitely went from a fun, chill, father-daughter experience. Again, we do this not to compete, but truly to participate. And so it went from a fun father-daughter experience to a kind of scary, not as enjoyable experience very, very quickly back in 2018.
Yeah, so if you think about this from an EQ perspective, right? Things like optimistic, your confidence, positivity, these are all great EQ skills to have. We want them. We encourage people to grow both for ourselves and for other people. Those 3 EQ skills they got us in trouble. And the result is this. I always like to show results. I don't know if you can actually see this or not, but if you can see this on there, there's an actual bandage on my arm where I actually got the IV as Amber is running to the medics. She's, so the result was actually very dangerous. It really was. But it just kind of shows you that any strength overdone can become a weakness. That's the first thing I wanted to bring up, was any strength overdone can become a weakness. The second thing I wanted to bring up is Amber and I are very similar. We've taken the DISC profile. What does the DISC profile show for Amber and I? We're both high I's, right? We're not really concerned about details. Do you I'm sure as you're watching, you're like, well, Alan, why didn't you have a map? Well, we were just kind of winging it. We were kind of making things up as we go.
As always.
And many times that's a great skill to have. If you're in front of an audience and you need to, and you need to be creative on the fly, it's a great skill to have. But in this situation, because we were very similar, we then fell into groupthink, where both of our skills were actually hurting us instead of having somebody to come in with some data or maybe more analytical approach and say, this is really not a good idea. And so I just thought it was a great way to explain those two areas of strengths overdone, number one, and number two, how sometimes this was just two of us. Imagine a team or a group, and all you have is one way of thinking. And that one way of thinking can prevent us from growing. It can prevent us from learning new things and trying to see the entire picture of maybe the process or the plan or the problem that was going on. And so that can happen. And it's one of those areas around EQ that I talk about a lot. Is strengths overdone can become a weakness, and for Amber and I, that's exactly what happened. And so I would encourage you, look around. I know for me personally at work, I try to surround myself with detail analytical people, because they do help me in that way. As the analytical people look to me for creativity and for spontaneous ideas being generated and things like that. So any other thing, Amber, you want to talk around how we kind of got in trouble from an EQ perspective?
I mean, it really was that lack of differences between us that we really entered into this delusional optimism. And yeah, it really did get us in a troubling situation, but we also learned, we have not tried 100 miles again, especially because we still train the same way, and that we just carb load the night before.
We don't train.
Yeah, so, but even, we actually did this race again a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we kind of joked about, we're like, okay, now's the chance. Do we want to do 100? And actually took some time to look at the details and say, well, we haven't really trained for this. We don't really have all the supplies we need. And let's stick with our area of expertise. So,
well,
yeah.
I want to leave you with two things here. Here's the actual medal from 2018 that Amber and I did receive. Even though we did finish the race, we just didn't finish it conventionally, right? So yeah, thank you, Amber, so much. I really thought this was an important story to share. Hopefully it was helpful for you. I always like to leave you with these parting thoughts with EQ for You videos, and that is: one, find what you are made to do and do it to the best of your ability. Number two, don't allow anyone or anything to steal your joy or your happiness. And number three, live life every day, because nothing's guaranteed. So thanks for watching this week. Next time on EQ for You, I have another interview with another dear friend of mine that you're going to love. Have a great day, and hopefully this was helpful for you. Have a great day.